Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you for a minute. See, a lot of women come to me and say, Steve, he acts like he doesn't care. He's dry, he's distant, he's confusing. What is going on in that man's head? And I always tell him the same thing when a man acts like he doesn't care. It usually means he cares a whole lot more than he knows how to show. When a man acts like he doesn't care, it often comes from fear or insecurity, not indifference. Most women see that calm, quiet look, that shrug, that I'm good attitude, and think he's checked out. But what's really happening is that he's fighting a battle inside himself that he doesn't know how to explain. From the time boys are young, they're told to man up, don't cry, and don't show weakness. So by the time that boy grows into a man, he's learned how to wear a mask. That mask says, I'm strong, I'm fine, and I don't need anyone, but underneath it, there's fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, fear of opening up only to get hurt again. When a man says he doesn't care, half the time he's protecting himself from caring too much. He's guarding his heart from another disappointment he doesn't feel strong enough to face. See, a man can act like he's distant, but that distance is sometimes his defense. He doesn't want to say the wrong thing. He doesn't want to seem too vulnerable, and he sure doesn't want to give someone the power to break him. That doesn't mean he doesn't have feelings. He's just trying to manage them in silence. Some men express emotions through action, not words. They'll fix something for you. They'll show up when you need them. They'll check on you without saying much. Those quiet acts are their way of saying, I care. It's not that they don't feel deeply. It's that they've never been taught how to put those feelings into words. So instead, they retreat behind pride, jokes, or distance. When you see a man pulling back, you might think he's cold. But sometimes, that's a man trying to protect his peace while figuring himself out. He doesn't want to disappoint you. He doesn't want to look weak. And most of all, he doesn't want to admit that he's scared. That fear doesn't mean he's incapable of love. It means he feels it so deeply, he doesn't know what to do with it. A man who truly doesn't care will disappear completely. But a man who stays, even if he hides behind silence or stubbornness, still cares more than he's willing to admit. It's not indifference. It's insecurity wearing the mask of strength. Men struggle to express emotions due to upbringing and pressure to appear strong. From a young age, boys are taught a silent rule: don't cry, don't complain, and don't show weakness. Society shapes them to believe that strength means silence, that emotions are something to be hidden, not shared. While little girls are encouraged to talk about their feelings, to cry when they're hurt, and to seek comfort, boys are often told to toughen up. That conditioning doesn't disappear when they grow up. It becomes part of who they are. So when a man gets older, he doesn't suddenly know how to communicate emotions he's spent a lifetime learning to bury. He's been trained to hold it in, to keep his guard up, to pretend he's fine even when he's breaking inside. When he feels pain, instead of talking, he shuts down. When he feels love, instead of saying it, he shows it through small actions, fixing something, providing, protecting. That's how he translates emotion into effort. To him, words can feel dangerous because words make him vulnerable. And vulnerability to many men feels like weakness. They've seen other men get mocked for being too emotional, too soft, too sensitive. So they build walls. They stay silent not because they don't feel, but because they fear what might happen if they finally let those feelings outside. A lot of men are full of emotions they don't have the language to express. They might feel guilt, confusion, love, or even heartbreak, but when those feelings come up, they get stuck. It's not that they don't want to talk. It's that they don't know how to without feeling exposed. It's easier for them to seem distant than to risk judgment. This is why so many relationships suffer. Women interpret silence as a lack of care, when really it's emotional restraint learned from years of pressure to be a man. Behind that stoic face is someone who feels deeply but doesn't know how to release it. That's why some men laugh when they want to cry or get angry when they're really hurt. It's misdirected emotion, a defense mechanism built over time. Men struggle not because they don't have hearts, but because the world has told them that showing that heart makes them weak. They've been carrying that weight their whole lives, mistaking silence for strength, when in truth it's just fear in disguise. Silence and distance can be signs of emotional overwhelm, not lack of love. Many people mistake a man's quietness for indifference, assuming that if he's not talking, he must not care. But often, that silence is a storm within him that he's trying to calm before it spills over. Men tend to process emotions internally. When something troubles them, they withdraw into their thoughts, not because they want to shut others out, but because they're trying to make sense of what they're feeling. It's like when a computer gets overloaded, it slows down, freezes, or restarts. That's what happens emotionally when a man feels too much. He needs space to reset, to think, to breathe. That distance doesn't always mean he's losing interest. Sometimes it means he's trying to protect what he feels from being misunderstood or mishandled. A man who loves deeply but lacks the tools to express it often gets overwhelmed by the weight of his emotions. Love, fear, responsibility, pride, and vulnerability can all clash inside him. When he feels hurt or confused, he might retreat not to punish you, but to protect himself from saying or doing something he can't take back. Many men are taught to fix things, not feel them. So when they face emotional pain, something they can't fix with logic or strength, they step away, hoping time or silence will bring clarity. They think, if I just stay quiet, maybe this feeling will pass. But to the person on the other side, that silence feels like rejection. In reality, emotional overwhelm is a silent struggle. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, heavy, and invisible. A man may not talk about what's bothering him because he doesn't know where to start or fears his emotions will be dismissed. Sometimes he's trying to spare you from his chaos, thinking he's doing the right thing by handling it alone. He might feel shame for even having those emotions because somewhere along the way, he learned that real men don't get emotional. So instead of opening up, he isolates himself. He buries what he feels under work, distractions, or silence. But silence can also be a form of love in disguise. A man may distance himself temporarily to avoid taking out his frustration or confusion on the person he loves. It's not that he wants to leave, it's that he wants to return when he can be better, calmer, clearer. That's his way of protecting the relationship. Unfortunately, that same silence can easily be misunderstood as neglect or detachment. But inside, he might be thinking about you constantly, rehearsing what to say, or worrying that his distance is hurting you. Emotional overwhelm makes him quiet, but not heartless. When a man feels deeply, silence becomes his refuge. It's where he hides to gather strength. It's where he sorts through pain he doesn't know how to explain. So when he pulls away, don't rush to assume he doesn't care. Sometimes that distance is just his way of loving you from afar until he can love you out loud again. A man who truly doesn't care will remove himself. He won't linger or keep trying. When a man is done, when he's genuinely detached, you won't have to question it. His absence will speak louder than any excuse he could ever make. He won't call, he won't check in, and he won't show any effort to stay connected. Men who have stopped caring don't argue anymore. They don't explain themselves, and they don't fight to be understood. They simply disappear. It's not out of cruelty. It's because emotional investment requires energy, and when that energy is gone, so is he. But when a man keeps showing up, even inconsistently, that's not confusion, it's attachment. That's care trying to find its footing. Sometimes women misread inconsistency as indifference, when in truth, it's hesitation. A man who still responds, still checks on you, still finds reasons to be around, even if he doesn't say much, still has feelings invested. He might be struggling between pride and love, fear and desire, doubt and hope. That inner battle makes him act unpredictable. Warm one day, distant the next, but his presence, even in fragments, is a sign that he hasn't fully let go. When a man stops caring, there's no back and forth, no mixed signals, no half-hearted messages. There's just silence, final, complete silence. Caring for men isn't always expressed through the words they speak. It's in the little things they keep doing. Maybe he remembers something small about you. Maybe he still tries to help in quiet ways. Maybe he can't fully stay away no matter how much he pretends not to care. Those are not actions of a man who's indifferent. They're the marks of someone wrestling with emotions he doesn't want to show. When men care deeply, they sometimes try to hide it behind distance because caring makes them vulnerable. It gives someone power over them. And that can be terrifying for a man who's been hurt or disappointed before. So if he's still there, still reaching out, still reacting when you pull away, understand that's not a man who's lost interest. That's a man who's trying to manage how much he cares. He may not know how to love openly, but he knows he can't walk away completely. Even his silence carries emotion if he's still orbiting your world. A man who doesn't care will never return. He won't watch from afar. He won't keep wondering what you're doing. He'll move on, clean and quick. But a man who lingers, who still shows concern, still feels something when you talk to someone else, still comes back after distance. That's someone who cares more than his pride will ever let him admit. True indifference is simple no emotion, no effort, no attention. But when you still feel his energy, when he's still trying in small, inconsistent ways, that's not detachment. That's emotional confusion wrapped in care. He may not say it out loud, but his actions betray him. The truth is, when a man truly doesn't care, he's gone. If he's still around, there's still something there. Men open up when they feel respected, safe, and heard. Respect is the doorway to a man's heart, and safety is what keeps him there. A man can love a woman deeply, but if he feels judged, belittled, or constantly misunderstood, he will close himself off like a book that's been slammed shut. Many men have been taught that emotions make them weak, so when they finally decide to open up, they're taking a risk. They're exposing a side of themselves that they've spent years protecting. If that moment of honesty is met with criticism or dismissal, it reinforces every fear they've ever had about being vulnerable. But when a woman listens with understanding instead of reaction, when she allows him to speak without immediately correcting or competing, he feels safe enough to keep going. That safety becomes the soil where trust grows. A man doesn't open up because you demand it. He opens up because he feels it's safe to do so. That safety doesn't come from softness alone. It comes from respect. Respect tells him that his thoughts matter, that his voice holds weight, and that he doesn't have to be perfect to be accepted. When a man feels that kind of respect, he begins to relax emotionally. His words become more honest, his tone becomes softer, and his heart starts to speak. He may not express himself as fluently as a woman, but what he shares in those moments is genuine. Every sentence is a piece of his truth, and when that truth is received with warmth, he begins to trust that vulnerability is not weakness, it's connection. Men also need to feel heard, not just listened to. There's a difference between waiting for your turn to speak and actually understanding what someone means. When a man senses that you're trying to understand him, not change him, not fix him, he feels acknowledged. That acknowledgement gives him confidence to open up even more. Often, what silences a man isn't the lack of love, but the lack of space to be himself without being told he's wrong for feeling a certain way. He needs emotional safety to show his true self, the parts that aren't always strong or sure. Respect doesn't mean you agree with everything he says. It means you let him say it without tearing it down. It means you let him exist as he is, and that acceptance allows him to grow into the kind of partner who communicates more freely. When a man feels respected and heard, love deepens because he no longer has to hide behind pride or pretense. He feels seen, not just for what he does, but for who he is underneath it all. That's when his guard comes down, his emotions surface, and the man who once seemed cold begins to show warmth you never knew was there. Because for men, love blooms in the presence of respect, but it withers under judgment. Look at his consistent effort, not just his emotional vocabulary. Many men love quietly. Love doesn't always speak in grand gestures or poetic words. Sometimes it whispers through actions that go unnoticed. Many men are not raised to articulate love with flowery language or emotional depth, but they express it in the ways they know how. It's in the way he makes sure you got home safe, the way he fixes something that's broken without being asked, or the way he checks on you when you've had a long day. Those small, steady efforts are a man's unspoken language of love. He might not say, "I love you," every day, but he'll show it by being present, by protecting your peace, and by doing the things that make your life a little easier. For a lot of men, love is responsibility. It's action. It's showing up when it counts, even if they don't know how to say the right words. Society often teaches men to show strength through doing, not through feeling. So while a woman might express affection through conversation or emotional connection, a man might show it through commitment and consistency. The way he remembers your needs, stands by you during your bad days, or silently supports your dreams. Those are his ways of saying, "You matter to me." Love for him is less about what he says and more about what he sustains. Some women misinterpret quiet love as lack of passion, but in truth, it's a different kind of passion, steady, grounded, loyal. The man who doesn't flood you with words but always shows up is loving you in a way that feels safe and reliable. He's not always going to say how he feels because that's not where his comfort lies. But if you look closely, his actions tell the story his words can't. He might not pour out emotions in long talks, but he'll remember the things that matter to you. He'll notice when something's wrong, even if you don't tell him. That's emotional awareness in silence. Consistency reveals care. A man who stays true in his actions, even when things get hard, is showing a level of love that goes beyond words. Temporary affection can come from anyone, but consistency takes effort, patience, and emotional investment. Quiet love doesn't shout. It shows up every day, even when no one's watching. It's in the details, the morning text, the unspoken support, the way he worries about your well-being. That's how men communicate love when they can't find the words for it. So don't measure a man's love only by his vocabulary. Measure it by the way he makes you feel safe, by the things he does without being told, by the consistency that speaks louder than promises. Because while not every man is fluent in emotional expression, the ones who care will always find ways to show it. Their love might be quiet, but it's real, steady, and strong enough to last.